have this disability called being broke, which unfortunately makes me the exact target audience. Zenless Zone Zero is literally goon baiting, disguised as a video game. Hopefully, for the right reasons, and not the wrong reasons. Whatever unspeakable thing that may be, that's between you and your dog as it watches you reach for the conveniently placed box of tissue paper on your desk. I might sound a little different today, and that's because I got a new mic. This means the landlord upstairs can no longer hear me screaming during my recordings. An investment for our already complicated relationship and my vocal cords. By the way, the landlord bought me the mic. The landlord is also my wife's boyfriend. What can I say? Today is a good day. Welcome to Zenless Zone Zero, a game where every woman capable of erasing demons from existence has, for reasons science cannot explain, developed a quiet fascination with the guy who cannot fight. His role in combat is emotional support and standing there correctly. You play as an adult video store owner that you own along with your sister. Your goals are to uncover the truth behind your mentor. A fairy that was framed for a disaster so severe that it destabilized reality itself. Ever since the incident, the world has been plagued by anomalies, space-time fractures, dimensional horrors, scam callers no longer hiding behind fake Western names, just raw, unfiltered authenticity. The level of brain rot among the new generation has reached unparalleled heights, and reading more than 2 paragraphs will trigger a stamina warning. You're still there, right? I feel like I'm losing some of you. Do you like toilets? Toilets are interesting, right? They smell good, right? Well, did you know that the power of the toilet flush has a 6-foot blast radius? Well, I didn't. And my toothbrush has been within that AoE spread for years. And for all those who think I've been affected by this, don't worry, I shit in the sink. Never will you catch me spreading any of that poo-poo dust across my gingivitis. This is a game built on DPS checks, licensed gambling addiction, and physics engines working overtime on priorities that matter. You're gonna roll for characters, fail the roll, cope loudly, and still be expected to pass a damage threshold anyway. Because this game doesn't ask if you're ready, it asks how much disposable income you have. Now you could have fun with the standard 5-star banner characters, and well, the catch is that you don't get to choose. The game forcefully yeets a character your way and tells you to make it work. My initial thought was, I don't mind. Anything is a win. Oh, I misspoke. But to be fair, you could still make it work. The base roster functions. They do damage. They obey physics. But this is not the problem. The problem is that the limited banner characters exist. Because once you've tasted those, the standard banner starts feeling like a public transportation system that technically gets you there, but smells like shit. The limited banner is where the developers hide the war criminals. These are the god tier meta warping units that don't just clear content, they redesign it. Some even come with dramatic titles like Void Hunters, which basically means we made them stronger than your self-control. And then you have characters like Banyu, who's pretty close to being one. He's just one gender away. The combat revolves around 5 elements, and endgame bosses take this personally, and they don't just test your skills, they audit your roster. This one wants fire, this one wants ether, this one wants one that was available during a solar eclipse last year. If you don't have them, that's fine. You have options. Option 1. Wait patiently, hoard monochromes, and pray for a rerun, like I did for Ether Mommy. Option 2. Introduce your husband's wallet. And if you're a dude, my apologies. Introduce your boyfriend's wallet. Let's be honest, we don't build characters because it's optimal. We build them because we like their animations, their vibe, or because we want to personally escort a boss straight to hell with prejudice. And unfortunately, the game notices this and responds by putting score thresholds and a timer in endgame content, making all of this feel less like progression and more like a credit check. A big part of scoring higher is understanding character-specific tech and team synergy. Master swap timing, chain the right combos, or run a cracked stun unit that locks the boss into an amplified damage state. Why is she still going? Learn all that, and suddenly your numbers stop looking like ass crack. Yes, any character can be built, but building a character that actually meets endgame scoring requirements, that's when the game hands you a goddamn helmet and sends you into the fucking coal mines for days, sometimes weeks. All for that 3% stat increase that may or may not matter, but you're doing it anyway, because now it's personal. You could skip some of that if you get the character's signature weapon, because that weapon doesn't just help, it removes some of the suffering. Just some. The remaining portion will still haunt you, like your ancestors, staring at you with disappointment as you goon for the 8th time in the last hour. Signature weapons smooth out stat requirements, reduce the need for psychotic min-maxing, and make the character feel like they were assembled correctly, which is great, unless you don't have it, in which case, congratulations, you're grinding again. And if all else fails, maybe start playing with both hands. I jumped on Reddit to get acquainted with my new homies. A few minutes later, I was staring at fan art where characters had clearly been through several unauthorized updates. At that point, I knew this game wasn't going anywhere and probably worth some investment. At the same time, I understand that the money I put into this game is money I won't get back. So like any rational person, I funded my account and my wife's account with her boyfriend's credit card. Long live his STDs. This is the Gacha system, also known as the machine that converts hope into numbers. These polls are presented like a friendly suggestion, rap music, clean user interface, bright colors, the kind of interface that says you're in control. You are not. You exchange monochromes earned through time, effort, and a concerning amount of daily chores, like going on dates with women, men, fucking rabbits, for a chance at happiness. Not happiness itself, just the idea of it. So in other words, fuck your happiness. Most of the time, the game rewards you with a character you already own, which it will then convert into a currency you don't understand. The only thing I know is that it's gonna help me farm dopamine. And this brings me back to the limited banners, the real content, the reason you are here. This is where the game parades a character in front of you like a showroom car and explains how they solve all your problems. Then reminds you that probability exists. You will pull. You will lose that 50-50. You will tell yourself you're building pity. And when you finally hit gold, it's not celebration, it's relief. Like surviving a small natural disaster. What makes it worse is that the character usually is that good. They smooth out rotations, they fix DPS checks, they make previously annoying content a bit more manageable. But the game doesn't force you to roll. It simply rearranges reality so that not rolling feels irresponsible. And of course, you could save, you could be disciplined, you could plan months ahead. But the game knows you, and it's gonna release reruns predictably. It'll drop characters that perfectly counter current content. With the countdown timer ticking, the game gently suggests that maybe food is optional, but this limited character isn't. And don't worry, you're not addicted. You're invested. Zenless Zone Zero doesn't demand your money. It just dangles a shiny character in front of you and waits patiently while you convince yourself it's a good idea. Everything in this game is governed by chance, and not the fun kind. The administrative kind. Obtaining disk drives in the first place? Random. Rolling their main stats? Random. The chances of this video ever seeing the day of light? Also random. Hours of farming culminate in one disk drive that almost works. Except that it rolled into the stat you didn't want 3 times in a row. At which point the game encourages you to recycle it and try again. Because maybe, just maybe, the dice will love you back. Because remember, you don't build a character, you negotiate with probability. World exploration exists, but it's clearly not the point. There are a few maps, it's just that the movement is serviceable, and nothing about it suggests you should linger. Exploration isn't about discovery or wonder. It's about opening an industrial quantity of chests for microscopic, laughable amounts of monochrome, all in service of eventually pulling characters the game knows you want more than self-respect. This world isn't asking you to explore it, it's asking you to find your next banner attempt. Side quests exist, a lot of them. Mercifully, the game lets you instantly clear them, most of them at least, for a price. And honestly, it's worth it, because nobody wants to manually grind the same task until their soul leaves their body. So where does that leave Zenless Zone Zero? It's stylish, mechanically solid, and aggressively polished in all the right places. The combat works, the characters sell themselves, and the systems are just deep enough to keep you engaged, while quietly siphoning your time through probability and routine. It's a game that rewards knowledge, patience, and a tolerance for being gently inconvenienced by math. Is it perfect? Nope. Is it generous? Questionable. Is it fun?
Yeah.
Zenless Zone Zero understands exactly what it is. A free-to-play action game that dangles power, personality, and progress just out of reach, and then asks how badly you want to close the gap. How negotiable rent actually feels. How many organs you technically only need one of. You can play it casually. You can min-max it into a second job. Or you can simply admire the production value while your resources evaporate. At the end of the day, it's a well-made game wrapped around a very familiar trap. And somehow, I'm still logging in tomorrow.